Hey guys, this is Nathan and welcome to the Gaming Floor. Today in this Unturned Map Editor tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to detail the apartment buildings. Now there's actually quite a lot of them. It goes from apartment building 1 to 6. I'm going to be using number 3 and number 2 to demonstrate just how to do that. Obviously I'm not going to detail every single room of all these apartments because that would take way too long. So the reason I'm going to detail just a few rooms in each of these is because first of all, apartment number 2 has a nice style of room that's actually really big, multi-room apartment, and the reason I'm going to do apartment number 3 is because it has a sort of classic one room apartment. So they're going to be drastically different, and hopefully from there where I show you how to detail these, you can sort of figure out how to do the rest of them. Alright, so obviously there are a lot of items out here, and as you may notice, a lot of them are very similar to what we use in normal houses, and that's because an apartment is essentially a smaller house, essentially. It's fit into a smaller area and compacted a bit. So let's start with apartment number 2, and I might do a couple designs. We'll just see as I go along. So apartment number 2 has 3-room apartments, and so what we're going to want to fit into these 3 rooms is at least one bedroom, some sort of kitchen, and then maybe a free room, recreation room. We could put a couch and a TV, something like that. So let's figure out which one we want for the bedroom. So what would sort of make sense is to put bedroom near the window. How you arrange this is of course up to you guys. I'm just going to choose bed number 1, I think it is. Yeah, bed number 1. Classic red bed. It's a double bed, so obviously it's like 2 people sleeping there, or just one person with a really big bed. Either works. So for the bedside, we're going to use table wood number 4, just because it's a good bedside table size. It fits in there nicely. Obviously, if it doesn't fit perfectly and you guys want it to fit a little better, use the scale tool. So I'm going to do that a little bit because the table is a little too large. And of course, if you guys ever want to use the scale tool on pretty much anything, go ahead and do that because it's a great tool for you guys to use and it can enhance your maps a lot. So on the bedside table, I'm going to use lamp number 1 just because we get a little nightstand lamp. I could also use lamp number 2 here on the other side of the bed, but I'm going to save that for something later. Also, you could have some books on the bedside table or like a newspaper, something like that would also work. Now, if you wanted to have another bedside table on the other side, you could do that. I'm going to leave it open just to keep it from being too repetitive. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is get a wardrobe in here. Now, I'm actually going to change the side of the bedside table and put it on this side. You'll see in just a second why I do that. And I'm also going to move the entire bed over just a bit. So you guys can leave a space on this side, or you could snug it up all the way to the wall. It just depends on your style. That would definitely work. And I actually am going to leave it like that because it leaves a little more room on this side. So what I'm going to do with that room is put a wardrobe. We've got wardrobe 1 or number 2. Either will work. And I'm going to put a wardrobe against this wall. Now, of course, you guys could put a wardrobe at the end of the room as well. That would work. It really just depends on what you want to do with this space. Now, you could put more than one wardrobe. You could put just one. It really doesn't matter that much. As long as you fill up the space nicely and you're satisfied with it. So this would actually work for a basic bedroom. There's not much else we need to do with this. We got the basic functions. We got a lamp, table, bed, and wardrobe. But we do have this empty area over here. So there's a special item, shelf number 3, that you can put in pretty much every empty space and just slap it up against the wall here. Now, since there is quite a lot of empty space, I'm going to snug it up to the doorway and leave this empty right here. And I'm actually going to put a couch number 2, and I'm going to plop it right there as well. Hopefully it fits. Looks like it does. And here we have a nice cozy bedroom with a little sitting area at the end. It's a little cramped, not too cramped, but it's pretty compact. So if you want a more open bedroom, feel free to spread stuff out and not put as much stuff in a single room. Alright, let's move on to the next room, which we will make let's make it the kitchen. Might as well. So really we could choose between this room or that room for the kitchen. It doesn't really matter, but just choose one. So I'm going to grab both the counters, counter 3 and 4 to be specific, and I'm going to start arranging those here. So I'm going to put the sink right in the middle just because, I felt like it, and you could put it off to the side if you wanted as well. I'm just going to put it in the middle and sort of center it on this window. Something like that. Now I'm going to use the Control B, Control N trick. I'm going to rotate that around, and I've got my snap rotation pretty small, but so I can line that up perfectly as well. So, okay, I might have to shift it over just a little bit because, as you guys can see, putting a third one in this space is not really going to be possible. So I'm going to shift it over. I guess the sink will be off center, and 4 fits in here pretty well. So that'll do for me for now. You guys can center that a little more if you really want to. And this by itself would actually work for a basic kitchen. But we should use a few more objects, including a fridge. It's a pretty standard one. You could pick a side, just put it there. Something else we could use is a stove and a dishwasher. So what I'm going to do, put the fridge about there, far enough away that you got some room to get into the counters, but close enough that you're saving space. And then you can put the oven and the dishwasher in there as well. Though they may not fit well because there's not much space, so we'll just have to eyeball it. It looks like they will fit, and I'm going to put the dishwasher over here, Control B, Control N, or Control B, then use Control N to snap that over here. And I'll do about the same thing with the fridge. And I will separate these because usually you don't have a dishwasher and an oven directly connected to each other. That seems a little weird. Okay, so that's pretty good. This is actually a pretty full kitchen. There's not much extra room, but that works fine. I'm actually going to put the fridge over here to sort of leave a little bit of extra room right here. Now, if you guys don't have room for a dining table, that's completely fine. You guys can go without one if you want. Oftentimes, you have to leave out parts of the house because, there's just not enough room in an apartment. Alright, so I'm going to grab a couch, and I'm going to set this up right here, and I'm going to have it with a TV as well. So let's put the couch somewhere around there. I can move it around a little later. Let's grab a nice flat screen TV, slap it up against the wall, rotate it correctly, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so actually something we can do since we don't have a dining room, I am going to put a table out here sort of as, not necessarily a dining table, but something like that. So this does make the area pretty cramped. You could put the square table there as well, but I'm just going to leave it, and I will snug it up to the wall a bit. Now, if this is too cramped for you, obviously you guys can do other things with the space. Alright, so there's not much more room in this house. There's a little bit of wall space. You could put another side table there that would definitely fit. You could put another shelf. There's very few things you can put to fill up the space. Also, there's a coat, number 1. If you really want to make it a little fancier, you can put a coat rack near the doorway. That'll just add a tad more detail for you. Now, on this side table, you can put a couple things as well. We've got radio, we've got telephone, or just phone, and we can put that on there as well. So definitely, put some of these small appliances around your house. It adds a little bit more realism. You could put books on there as well. You could even stack books on the floor. So, just be creative and, fill up the space. So this is definitely going to work for an apartment room. Looks pretty nice. Not too crowded, not too empty. Plenty of spaces for you to put any types of items you may want to have in there, or zombie spawns. Alright, so I'm going to move on to some of these one-room apartments. With these ones, you're going to actually be able to have a little more variety because, you can't really fit very much at all inside them, so we're going to have to pick and choose what we want to put inside. So, let's start with this top floor one, and I'm going to use bed number 2. Obviously, as we can tell already, it's already super cramped. There's not much room in here at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put bed number 2 sort of sideways like this and put it up against the wall. This is pretty space efficient. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a wardrobe, because you might as well have a wardrobe if you're going to have a bed. and I'm going to put the wardrobe up against here. Now, as I mentioned, you don't necessarily have to have a bed. It's not mandatory for a house. So, if players while playing it stop and think about it, yeah, it might seem a little weird, but you know, as long as you decorate it nicely and fill up the space, it will seem semi-normal. So definitely feel free to do that. Now I'm going to have a little kitchenette here, and obviously I can't separate the space very well. It's sort of going to bleed right into the bedroom, but there's nothing we can do about that. So I'm going to have shelves here, or the countertops. I'm going to copy paste them over, and I'm going to use Control B and Control N to copy this over, and I'm essentially just going to fill up the rest of this space with countertops. So that works pretty well. Now, obviously there's not much room for a fridge here. You could put one if you really wanted to. That would definitely work. You could put it like right here. Obviously, as I said, there's not much room, but that would definitely work. So if you guys wanted to leave this as the entire apartment for this building, or as the entire room, this would definitely work. We've got enough stuff in here. It's pretty crowded actually, but that's to be expected with an apartment building. Alright, so let's make a different version over here. And I'm actually going to make this version one without a bedroom, because you can drop certain parts of it. So this one may be more of a lounge room. So I'm going to have a table here. I'm going to put some chairs around it. And I'm going to put a TV on the wall once I finish putting these chairs. So this is more of a lounge room. This doesn't necessarily have to be a living area. Oftentimes, some apartments do have like a communal area for people to hang out. So this would definitely be a good option for one of those rooms. You could even have one per floor. It really just depends on what you want to do. So we've got this TV here for people that potentially want to watch. I could do something with the other side that's pretty common. I could put two couch number twos or just one couch number one. I'm going to put two couch number twos just to see how well it fills up this space. Actually, looking at it now, there's not much room at all, so I'm going to just put one couch down, and I'm going to snug it up to the wall as best I can. Then I'm going to use the shelf again and put that up here. Obviously, we are quickly running out of space, but this will work. Now, something else you could put here, since this is a communal room, is a cooler. So if you take cooler number one, you could put that sort of in place of the shelf, and I'm going to do that. So the nice thing about the cooler is it seems more like a place to store drinks and cold stuff. You could even put it right here as well, and I'll probably put it there just because it fits a little better. Alright, so we got our cooler down, we got our table for games and board games and stuff. Obviously you guys can decorate that however you want. We've got chess and newspaper to put in that area. You can even put a lamp, that would make sense as well. And if you want to drag all of this away from the TV, you can do that a little bit. We got enough space over here that would be fine. Alright, so that's two different types of rooms you can have in your apartment. So I'm going to make one more using the bunk bed. It's by far probably going to be the one most crowded. I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to do something a little different with the bed. Instead of having lined up this way, I'm going to have it lined up this way against the wall. And, obviously try to keep things from clipping into the wall too much. And definitely scrunch those up as much as you can. So I'm going to use another wardrobe here, just because wardrobes are a pretty good standard material or object to place inside the room. So scoot that up against the wall, probably as much as you can just to save space. And there's our wardrobe, and there's our sleeping area. Now for the rest of this, I'm probably going to put another kitchenette, just because kitchens are really common to have inside of living areas. And this one I'm actually going to put some more things on the counters. So I'm going to scoot this one up to this side, and I'm actually going to have it turned a little bit. So I'm going to go over how to make this pretty quick. So we got this one at this angle, and then I'm going to copy paste, make one 90 degrees, and they are pretty much meshing perfectly. Back it up a little bit. We will have to freeform some of this, so that's not preferred, but we can work with it if we have to. Now I'm going to scoot this one up against the wall as much as I can, and you could leave it like this. Something I would suggest is actually rotating it around like this, and snugging it up again. The reason you do this is just so that those doors that we see there don't stick through and look pretty awkward. And you can try to line up those angles nicely as well. So something like that, you can get it pretty close. Okay, so once we get here, we can copy paste this, rotate it back around, and start the shelves at the front again. Obviously there's going to be a lot of touching up to do, but you can get it quite nice, as you see I just did. And then Control B and Control N to move this over, and there we go, we've got a sink included. And actually I'm going to switch spots with these two. It makes more sense to have the sink in the middle. Alright, so we got our little curved corner kitchenette, and we do have space for a fridge. So let's plop a fridge in there. Generally with these apartments, you're not going to have, with the small apartments anyway, you're not going to have much room for a stove or a dishwasher. They are kind of extra and they do take up a lot of space. So we got our fridge here. I'll put it closer to the bed just because I feel like I'll just put a coat rack there as well. So we'll put a coat rack right by the door, make it a little nicer. And that's truthfully all we need to do. As you guys see, we got enough room here for navigating. If we put anything else here, it'll sort of cut off that navigation space, and this will definitely work. Now, if you guys want to do the fancy type kitchen, where you take everything up here, duplicate it, and then you actually, well, you can leave it, no, you can't leave it like that. You got to turn everything upside down. So let me quickly do that. And you actually sort of create a kitchen counter set on the ceiling. Come on, come on. Okay, so then we're going to select all of these and move them upwards till they start hitting the ceiling. And there we go, we've got a nice kitchen set of cupboards up there where you can actually place items and stuff there as well. So as I said, I'm going to soup up one of these kitchens. We've got some common kitchen appliances: coffee, microwave, toaster. I'm going to grab all of those. And I'm actually not going to put it on the one I last made because it's pretty crowded. I'm going to put it on this one because it does have a lot of desk space. So I would put the microwave somewhere with a lot of room because it is quite large. Coffee maker is of course optional. All of these are optional. Definitely put that one where there's a lot of space as well. The toaster is a little smaller so you can fit it in a little better. And there we go. We got a pretty crowded, but you know, we got all the appliances in there. So obviously there's a lot of things here I haven't used yet. There's some options here that we could do. There's the dish, clothes and clothes dryer and washer. Really, you're not going to be able to use those in the small apartments unless you make a room specifically for washing machines. That would be an option as well. But you could sort of substitute this hangout area in one of the larger rooms. So for example, this apartment here, there's a huge room. So you could actually fit a lot of stuff in here. You could put a washing machine cubby right in this corner. So that's always an option. In terms of how to use the computers, you could put computer station in instead of like an entertainment station. With one of these one room ones, you could put a table here and have a computer set up there instead of a wardrobe. In terms of these boxes or cardboard, there's also crate that you could use as well. Crate 1 and 4. Those would also work really well if you want to just fill up one room with cardboard boxes or something, sort of like it's out of commission. So let's say we've got this room here and we don't want to do much to it. And I'll quickly detail that here. You can just throw a bunch of boxes in it. Obviously it's not going to take much to fill it. Fill it enough anyway. You can just throw boxes in there, randomize them, copy paste, place them on top of each other, all sorts of stuff like that, and fill the room and make it look like it's for storage only. And of course you can use these cardboard as well. They do bust open, so when you shoot them or hit them, they will break open and they look pretty nice. So that's a good touch of detail there as well. And of course you can mix the two as I am doing right now, and you can stack them and do all sorts of stuff. So obviously if you're going to do that to one of these rooms, put a little more than this, spread it across the entire room, but that is also an option as well. And if you want to add a spider web just for a little better touch, you can do that too. So we can add webs to the corners or whatever, or you could just leave it on the floor. It looks decent on the floor as well, or on the ceiling. Alright, so some of the other things we have here, we've got a bathtub. That's definitely going to be for some of the larger rooms in here. You could combine that with the clothes and washer and dryers as well. We also have some lights, and what's kind of cool about these objects is they are new. They're from the Russia map, or a little more recent than that, possibly. They actually do light up. As you can see, there's kind of a glow coming off of these, and you can kind of see there is some stuff coming off the floor here, and so they will light up your rooms. This one's kind of cool. It's flickering. This one is off, so you can add these to your rooms as well. This one is not really a ceiling light, it's more of a wall light. As you guys can see, you put it against the wall, you're going to want to have it rotated a certain way as well, so that the back is in the wall. But you could put those in either the rooms themselves, sort of like this. This is kind of fancy. Or you could put them in the hallways outside in places like this. Now, speaking of the hallways outside, some of your apartments will have those pretty big hallways, something like this. So there are a few things you can do in those hallways. There's shelf number 3. This is a very good option, especially for places like this where you've got tons of room. You know, just slap a couple of these against the wall. Maybe put some books just to add a little bit of detail. Definitely that works. We could also put some tables, sort of like study tables. So in this hallway as well, we've got a ton of room here. We could put even another table there and just snug it up against the wall. We could add a chair, and you know, that would work. And of course you guys can use metal as well if you want to do that. Another place you could put a table or a shelf is in this cubby right here. Now, underneath here, you could put shelves, tables, whatever, similar to up here, just fill the space in nicely. You could even leave it blank. A lot of people leave that blank. It could potentially lower the quality of your building if you do leave too many of those areas blank, but if you add an occasional one, it's not going to be that much of an issue. One last item that you should probably not forget is a clock. That's another small item that you can just place pretty much wherever. You know, that'd be a good one for hallways as well, adding a little more detail. So for example, this hallway, which doesn't have that much extra room, you could just slap a clock against the wall. It adds a tiny bit more detail, and you know, it looks alright. So anyway guys, hopefully that gives you a good idea of how to detail these apartments. There's obviously a lot of options, there's a lot of variety, many different sizes. These ones have huge rooms, these ones have larger rooms even, these ones have decently small rooms. Actually really weird shaped rooms. So how you set these up is going to be up to you. You could have one sort of room over here, you could have the kitchen sort of over here, you could have a chill area over here. Truthfully, apartment number 4 is pretty nasty though. It's going to be pretty hard to detail this nicely because you got this weird sort of U-shaped room to figure out. So I would definitely suggest against that one. That one would be more for a PvP map where detail isn't much of an issue. These ones also have huge rooms, and these ones actually have really small rooms, so there's a lot of variety here. Hopefully you guys can figure out how to detail these areas using what I've shown you here. And if you guys are having trouble doing this, just remember, you can use a basic home layout and just remove parts and compact it all. So, you know, use basic home detailing and just fit it into the small area. Obviously, you're going to have to sacrifice parts of it because you can't fit everything in there, but you should be able to do a good job to make a semi-realistic livable area. So anyway guys, please like the video if you enjoyed it, please subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you all later.